Yo, what's going on, people? It's been a while, man. You know, we've got a lot to talk about, a lot to catch up on. 3 games since we've last done this. A lot to unpack. Man City, Liverpool, and then obviously Leicester over the weekend. But first things first, how you both doing, gents? Happy New Year and all that sort of jazz to you guys.
Trash. London's trash, bro. It's closed. London's closed.
London
In
is closed.
a few hours,
Ain't shit to
everywhere's
do.
be closed.
Ain't shit to do, bro, other than just watch Newcastle lose.
That's all it is, man. I mean, that's all I have been doing, whether it been abysmal performances against Leicester or this surprise performance against Liverpool where everyone's getting gassed about, or Manchester City just literally just pulling our pants down. But either way, it's been great. You know what I mean? It's great supporting Newcastle as always, man. You know, it's always entertainment. It's like a soap opera. I still don't know how we haven't got a Netflix deal. I really don't, because that'd be a bestseller. Honestly. But apart from that, yeah, it's been great, man. You know, Newcastle's always keeping the outsiders entertained, whether it's them watching us as a fan base or watching our team or both. Do you know what I mean? It just must be awesome to watch us. But again, it's just absolutely painful to watch us play, honest to God.
Hey, do you remember watch Cobra Kai?
Nah.
Now you need to get involved, man. I saw you like you watch Karate Kid as kids. Come on, man.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, was that same thing?
Jump on, man. We need that mentality, Pete. That's what I'm saying. You need to watch it so we can get that for Newcastle.
You know what? Look, that's one of our biggest problems. That's been one of our biggest problems in the last 13 years is mentality. Look, let's not get it twisted. The one season, the anomaly where the mentality was right is the season we finished 5th, and that came by mistake. That wasn't manufactured. You know what I mean? That was a mistake. That wasn't meant to happen. You know what I mean? That wasn't meant to happen, but it did, and we enjoyed it, and then we reverted straight back to type. And that's just the reality. Look, we keep going on about it over and over again until Mike Ashley leaves the club. This is Newcastle, and like we can get angry, frustrated, down, upset. You can name whatever you want. Like you can feel it whatever way about Newcastle, but the reality is, until he leaves, it ain't changing. So we can moan about it, but we're just gonna get on with it. People like, you know, I'm seeing on social media, there's people that are, you know, bemoaning the fact that, you know, we weren't attacking enough, or we didn't match Leicester, or Leicester have gone beyond us, and all the rest of it. What do you expect? What do you expect? They've got an owner that's got ambition. They've got you know, an owner that actually wants to do good by the club. The owner actually wants to invest his money into the club. You guys must have seen their new state-of-the-art training ground facility that they've just gone into. Christmas Eve was their first training session. It's outstanding. I've been to their old training ground. I've trained there before. It was a mess. It was probably like ours is now. They've gone into state-of-the-art, one of the best training facilities in Europe, right? And that's been invested in by the owner, right? The players that they've got, the young talent that they've got, the likes of Tillemans, the likes of Maddison, the likes of Wesley Fofana, who I'll get onto in a second, who's just outstanding player.
Barnes.
You know, Barnes came through the youth academy. You know what I mean? That he's a product of their youth academy. You know, you got Justin right back. You know what I mean? This is an owner that wants to invest to make his club better, and slowly but surely. Look, we know that them winning the league was a fluke. We know it was a miracle, but what they're now starting to do is using that to build and develop and sustain their success at the top end of the Premier League. And what you've seen now over the last few years, they haven't been great. They haven't been challenging every year, but they've been up the top half of the table and slowly built year after year to the point now where they're in a title race, a genuine title race that they're genuinely in, not by fluke, but by earned through good performances. And you know, we're looking at Leicester thinking like, how have they overtaken us? Well, Mike Ashley has, because let's face it, before Mike Ashley came into the club, we were where Leicester were. We were there, and Tottenham and Leicester weren't even in the Premier League at that point. Tottenham were where we are right now. Where we are right now, where the
Bumby, what are you saying, bro? Bumby, what are you saying, man? Like, what do you think of this game? Not even the game, like how we doing overall.
Well, let's start. I didn't think I think the disappointing thing is we didn't play bad. I felt the 2 goals. You're kind of like, come on, bro, you can't defend the way you defended against Liverpool and let those 2 in, you know. But my frustration was how shit we are at attacking. That's what was killing me. It's like, oh, we are so bad at putting passes together. We don't have spells where we're just lining it up. And it's a weird Matty Longstaff for me. It's like, where has he been? You know, I can't believe we're playing Sean Longstaff. Callum Wilson is useless outside of the 18-yard box. So him coming deep to get the ball just doesn't work. We miss ASM who can cover those yards and put him in. And last but not least, people are getting at Miguel Almiron saying he doesn't burst into attack or, use that pace to cause a problem and pick out a pass like a Traore, for instance. But my thing is, when you have Steve Bruce coaching us to line up to be safe, you can't switch your mentality from doing that to attacking. It's just not simple like that. You see what I'm saying? Unless you put that into a team that this is what you're about, they're not going to know to do that. So when Miggy gets the ball and he's running, his first mindset is be cautious, not take a risk, not go for the goal or, do a madness. It's be cautious. And everyone else plays like that. We play with a handbrake on. So like Pete said, we got a shit chairman, a dumbass manager. Like, it's just a basic manager, man. And this is nothing disrespectful to Bruce. Look at Frank Lampard. But they gave him diamonds. You see what I'm saying?
Lampard, man. Fraud Lampard, man. Look what he done to your boy Kai. See what he done to your boy Kai.
But he's not a fraud, though. He's just not qualified to manage that type of talent right now.
That's just fraud. That's fraud, man. Fraud Lampard.
So it's not a thing where Newcastle haven't got a good team or haven't got good players. It's clearly management, because you could give Steve Bruce that Chelsea and he won't do any better. You see what I'm saying? So our problem is, like Pete said, a chairman and a manager. And until those things go away, I watch the games for just little gems. For excitement and us winning games and scoring, I gave up on that a long time ago.
What gems could you take from these 3 games, bro? We lost
I like Kieran Clark. I like Matty Longstaff. I like Kieran Clark. I like Fab. Yedlin's been okay in terms of, just filling that right back position. There's talent in this team. We just don't have a good manager. What are Leeds doing that we can't do? Yeah, they might lose 5-0 or 4-2, but their fans will be like, you know what? We go for it, though, innit? And so when they come up against teams like West Brom and that, it's a 5-0 no long team. Whereas with us, we lost to Brentford. We should have beaten Brentford with our youth team. And it's like Pete saying, look at the players coming through Leicester. Sean Longstaff and Matt Longstaff are the only 2 players that have come from our academy, and God knows how he is. Come on, man. We're losing on all fronts, man.
Losing on all fronts, man. But look, some of those gems are questionable.
Darlow,
yeah. I'll give you Darlow. Darlow for England for sure, man. That's the only one real one that's come out for me. Matty Longstaff, yeah. Again, he needed to be freed a long time ago, whether it be out of the club or just out of the closet. Either way, man, just get him out. Yedlin, he should have gone to Turkey a long time ago, whether it's to get a fresh weave or whatnot. I don't know. Well, get Yedlin.
It's all natural. That's all his heart.
It's all natural, nice, cool, but he still needs to free himself out of this club, bro. Nah, man. I'm not having one 30-minute performance tell me that he's the best right back at our club. Nah, sir. The only other people that can hold their head high from this period of time in the season is Carl Darlow and Callum Wilson. That's it. Maybe Isaac Hayden as well. That's it.
Isaac Hayden had
he got on my nerves against
Liverpool. He got on my nerves against Liverpool.
Bro.
Kieran Clark, you're not feeling Clark?
Clark, listen, they're all right. We're talking about all right, but I'm talking about from this season. If we're to have player of the season right now, I'm saying Carl Darlow Callum Wilson. That's it. No one else can tell me anything different. Who else can say that they've had a consistent run? Not always had one game. Yeah, cheers. No, I'm not talking about one game because again, that'll get me gassed about Andy Carroll scoring yesterday, and that's the first time he scored in about 22 years. So I'm not getting gassed because of that. I'm saying consistency. And Carl Darlow, despite getting pummeled and conceding 5s and 2s and 3s and here, there, and everywhere, he's been good and consistent. Callum Wilson has got 8 goals already. A healthy return in terms of what we've got from other players and a healthy return in general. And that's it. There's 2 players. So I'm going to come to you, Pete. I'm going to go to, we're in January now anyway, 4 days in. Like, who do we get over the line? I hate to use that term, but that's the only thing that could come to the top of my head at the moment. Like, who would want to come to this club in this situation right now, Pete?
Being honest, just players that are not playing for their current clubs, fringe players for other clubs, and that's it. People that are the fringe players at other clubs, or players that need to have significant amount of games in order to get into their national squad for the Euros. That's basically what it is. I mean, that's why we signed Lazaro. Lazaro would have never come to us from Inter Milan. He signed for us on the basis, and Danny Rose was the same. They signed for us on the basis that we're going to get games in order to get into their national squads, in order to go to the Euros. And obviously, COVID threw that out the window. And it'll be the same again. We'll be signing players that will either be fringe players at their clubs, or players that need games in order to get into their national squads, and that's it. And that's where we're at now. You know, for all the negative stuff that we've talked about with Newcastle, and rightly so, I agree. For all the crap and all the rubbish performances that we've seen and what they've put in, we're still 8 points clear from the relegation zone. With 2 games in hand. Oh, sorry, 1 game in hand, should I say?
I don't know how.
And it is purely down to that Bruce look. That Bruce look is still shining through, because whenever we have, like, for example, we talk about the Man City game, the Liverpool game, the Leicester game, we knew, or we expected, that we were going to get no points from that. We were lucky to get 1. Great. However, we were expecting as a fan base to be further deep into that relegation battle than we are. We're just looking at the fact that Sheffield United keep losing, Fulham keep losing, and West Brom are getting absolutely tonked at the moment by whoever they're playing. And in that bottom 3, in my opinion, is going to be the same bottom 3 at the end of the season, and I don't see it changing. And that is purely down to the Bruce look. Because if it was any other season, we'd be right down there at the bottom right now. If it was any other season that was more competitive, we are lucky that we're in a COVID pandemic. We're lucky that the likes of West Brom didn't spend any money really, apart from 18 million on an 18 or 19-year-old that wasn't proven at Premier League level. You got Sheffield United that barely didn't invest anything, that got Brewster, who's an inexperienced Premier League player, and Fulham didn't really sign anybody at all. They didn't invest anything. So those 3 that didn't really invest are now sitting in the relegation zone. And we are lucky to be where we are because of that. Now, that's not going to last forever. It's not going to last forever. And we keep riding that look and riding that look and riding that look. And we are going to get hit. And there'll be one season, or next season or whenever, where we will be rock bottom and we deserve to be there, because we've continued to allow someone like Steve Bruce to manage our club. So going back to the original point, right, players that I think will come in have already been linked with a number of players. Hamza Chowdhury being one of them at Leicester, who is a decent player, and given the amount of minutes, would improve our midfield instantly. Why? Because he knows how to tackle. 1 and 2, he actually has a decent amount of pace, so he can actually get up and down the pitch. And that was one thing that was lacking from our midfielders yesterday. So he'd be someone that would improve our midfield. For me, I still think we need another centre-back. And we've been linked with Tomori at Chelsea in recent days, and he'd be a decent signing. And then for me, I think, we've got an option of getting someone like Zetro Williams back on a cheap deal because his contract's out in the summer, and Frankfurt want him gone because he's not signing a new contract. They want him gone. So here's another one, and then a forward player. We've been linked with Damari Gray, who I like. We've been linked with Shaqiri, who's a decent player. Someone that can either create or score goals, one of the two. And that's who we'll be looking at, in my opinion.
What about you from me, man? If you had the shopping list, if you had the checkbook, Mike Ashley's checkbook, realistically, he told you don't be silly. No, Kai Havertz is staying where he is. Who are you signing then?
I mean, I haven't really thought about who we're signing per se. I just feel like we need some kind of creative midfielder who can run and open up, the hole. Pause. I just know we need something like that. I agree we might get Petro Williams in for some cover on that left-hand side. Maybe a right back, because the right back position is just baffling at the moment. But then, who are these players? You know what I mean? Who's the right back you're going to go and get in January, But I agree with Pete. We're only going to get people who want to try and get into the national team. My point is this. It's not that the team is lacking in players, It's not even there. It's not that we're lacking in players. We're just lacking in ideas. Like, it don't matter who we bring in. What are they going to do? Improve Bruce's idea of football? Nah, fam. As long as we got Bruce at the helm, they could bring in Messi. I would be like this. Poor Messi. Sorry, Pete. I'm just gonna say I'm not really like before. I'd be like looking at the transfer window, like, man, who are we gonna get in? We need this for this. But I'm literally thinking, who cares? Who cares?
It's all it is just extra bodies. That's all it is. And look, you're absolutely right. It's not down to the lack of good players. You look at our squad of players, man for man, and match that up to the last 2, 3, even 4 seasons, right? You match up, and this squad is better. The difference is we haven't got a manager that can actually manage this squad of players and provide a structure and a way of playing. Now, you talked about Leeds and how Leeds are tearing it up. Why? Because they've got a manager that has a way of playing, and he's invested his time into those individuals to get them playing the way he wants to play. If you go back to Bielsa's career, and you go back to Marseille, and you go back to Argentina, and you go back to some of the other teams that he's managed over the years, they've all played exactly the same way. They all play with the same intensity, the same attacking mentality. They play with exactly the same style. We can go back to Kevin Keegan and the way he played in the Entertainers. He went to Man City, did exactly the same. He went to Fulham, did exactly the same. Every club that he went to and managed played the same system and style of play. How the hell does Bruce match up his team? He's got no system. He's got no style. He's got no structure of way of playing. So all he relies on is individual brilliance. So last season we talked about it. And we talked about it a lot. And I know Fordy mentioned it as well about the fact that ASM, it was a case of give the ball to ASM, see if he can make a difference. And if that doesn't work, we're screwed. And that's basically it. So he's relying on individual brilliance. Now, ASM's not been playing for a while. So it's a case of, can Callum Wilson get us a goal? If he can't get us a goal, we don't score. It'll be exactly the same in January. We'll get players in that we're just going to hang our hopes on, providing a little bit of individual brilliance. And if they don't, we're screwed. It's the same. We're just we're just lucky.
Yeah, talking about ASM, like, where is that guy, man? I'm seeing him on social media more than I'm seeing him on the pitch, and that's worrying. You know what I mean? I'm seeing him posting up pictures of him and his kids. Cool, I get that. You got kids. But really and truly now, you're a football player as well as, a family man. I'm not saying one should take preference over the other. Obviously, family comes first and all the rest of it, should I say. But at the same time, we need to start seeing you on the pitch, bro. Like, we need to know what's going on. I'm not buying the whole COVID stuff, no. I'm more inclined to believe that there was a bust-up between Lascelles and ASM, like the rumours suggest. So what are we going to do without our main man out? Because let's face it, without him, we are looking pony. Almiron's getting played out of position. He's playing out on the right wing. He's not a winger. I said this on another channel, and I'm going to say it here. He's got number 10 on his back. That is the key example of what you need to do with him. Play him in a number 10 role. If you're going to play Almiron, playing to his strengths. If you're gonna see him, if you see him in a Paraguay shirt, he plays like he's playing like Messi, like he's emulating Messi. When we're playing for us, he's looking like Scott Sellers, or do you know what I mean? Or just like, no respect to Scott Sellers, but like, do you know what I mean? We've got a potential great player on our hands, and we're playing him out of position. For what? For what? We can't find players to play in that position. We've got plenty of them, but we're not playing him in the right position. That's one thing. So I just want to know what's happened to ASM. Play him when he's available. Play him now he's here. Whether he wants to go or he wants to stay, he needs to play. Because again, either way, he's not going to flip and move on. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's my little rant anyway.
Look, go on for me.
I think it's obvious. Like, flipping Salah had COVID, many men had COVID, and they've been back playing since. I don't even think he had COVID. I just think they had ASM's a very, what's the word? He's one of those players or those people who anything that happens, it goes on social media. Anything. He scores a goal, social media. New player comes, social media. Someone banters him, he banters back on social media. He has COVID and he says nothing. I mean, that's the time to say, hey guys, caught COVID, send me your prayers, love Newcastle. That's exactly what he would do if it was all in harmony. But it's not all in harmony. And he's been told clearly not to say nothing on social media or to the press. But there's no way he has COVID. It's not that. It's not that. He's a professional athlete. If he caught COVID, he would have been healed by now. All this, it hit him hard. I don't believe it. I really don't.
The only thing that hit him hard is probably Jamal Lascelles' fist. That's the only thing that probably hit him hard.
What did they say? There was a bust up between the two players.
That's the rumors. That Lascelles, ASM had a bit of a bust up. If so be it, cool. That leave it at that. We've seen it in the past. Lascelles and Diarmi, Lascelles and someone else. That's what Lascelles is about. He's about that life. And to be honest, I kind of like it in a way. Do you know what I mean? Little straightener, cool. We cool now. Right, let's get back to business. We need to save this club from going under, because otherwise.
But what's Lascelles mad about though?
He's probably pissed the fact that ASM's like, look, I can see it in his body language sometimes that, he's either not getting the ball or he's just thinking, you know what, these guys are pony, or do you know what I mean? And he's probably thinking, hold on a minute, mate, you've been in 5 minutes, calm yourself. I know this is what me reading into it, but at the same time, I can kind of see it when ASM don't get the ball and he's doing this. And when you see a player doing this, there's only one thing that he's on his mind. It's like, he's either not getting the ball enough or he's just probably had enough, he's frustrated. So Lascelles has probably said, you know what, I'm the captain of this club, similar to what he did at Southampton all those years ago. Yo, let's have a little straightener outside. Cool, let's settle this. Right, let's get back to business. Whereas ASM is like, nah, man, you can't be punching me up. Obviously in a more French accent. And that's it. Other way, that sounds like a great story to me anyway. But yeah. What are you going to say, Pete? Sorry, bro.
No, I was going to say, I'd actually heard it the other way. I actually heard it was Lascelles in St. Maximin that fell out with Bruce.
Oh,
so they kind of teamed up against him, and they weren't the only ones. There was apparently 4 or 5. I think Mankilio was in there as well.
Mm-hmm. And if you've noticed, none of those guys have played. None of them have played.
And that's the thing. Look, I have no idea. Me personally, I'm of a different view. I do think it was COVID, and the reasons why is because if you look at, we talk about Kai Havertz having a really bad time and not doing well this season. If you remember, he had COVID as well. And it's really interesting. I was listening to Frank Lampard today, and he was talking in depth about how COVID is impacting on Kai Havertz, and he's only just regaining his fitness now. He had COVID probably about 7 weeks ago, probably even longer than that. And it's taken him that long to recover. In some people, COVID has a negative impact even after they've recovered from it in terms of fatiguing. And it's not in everybody. Like, for example, we had Isaac Hayden that had COVID after the Palace game, recovered after 10 days, or he was really bad, recovered and then back playing. For some people, it may affect them even more. And there might be some medical stuff that we're not aware of, which is why he's not able to play. So in his Instagram, I listened to his Instagram, I watched it, and ASM's talking about, I feel great, I feel fine. That might be just because he's recovered from COVID and he just feels better than he was at that point. It might not be that he's physically able to play. That's just my opinion. I don't think we'll know the real reason until he's either back playing regularly and he comes out and openly talks about it. Because anyone that's had COVID, if you realise whether they're active or not, none of them talk about it, and that's not just with Newcastle. That's with any team, because they're not allowed to. There's sort of like there's a requirement that if you've got COVID, you're not supposed to talk about it from either club, because the club have to try and keep it as confidential as possible. So that's why they don't talk about it at all. Even in the press conferences, they don't ask if they're fit, if they're not. There's an agreement in place with the Premier League and the clubs that they don't talk about it if they've had anything COVID related or if there's an outbreak. That's why you don't hear anything about Man City in terms of individuals. That's just my opinion. We could be all completely wrong. You guys could be absolutely right. We'll either know when Bruce leaves, when ASM leaves, or if ASM comes back and starts tearing it up, he might then come out and speak about it. But look, the frustrating thing is that us fans just want to know. We want to know what the deal is. We want to know when it's back
because
playing.
you know what it is, Pete. The difference with us and those clubs is when their players got COVID, they announced it immediately. They just said, yeah, the players, I'm not reason they've been positive for COVID. We just didn't see Maximum and the Shells.
When has Mike Ashley organised his club in the way in which he communicates with his fans? We just didn't
see him. Yeah. I thought he was injured.
Yeah.
Who, Mike Ashley?
No.
Yeah.
I thought they were injured. I thought Mankilo was injured. But when they said there was a bust-up, and I saw, and you told me, you said it was those 4 players. Then I started watching the games and I realized none of them are not playing. But Cross came back into the team.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it, and we talked about it after one of the games. And Mankilio had a run in the team earlier on in the season.
Yeah.
And then he just disappeared, and we didn't see him for weeks. Crafter all of a sudden just came in, and it made no sense whatsoever. And he's still not even back now. He's in the squads here and there. He don't even come on.
I don't get it.
It baffles me. But the difficulty is that we as fans really want to know about our club and our players, but we've got owners and managing directors like Charlie who just don't communicate with us at all. So we're the furthest from being involved in the club at all.
You know what, Pete, though? I reckon if they knew, if we find out there's a training ground bust up, they have to sack Bruce by the weekend because we're on every player's side.
Yeah, exactly.
They have to keep that in-house. Because they just knew if we know the players are not happy with Bruce, there's no way Bruce can manage after that.
You imagine all of us guys knowing that Bruce is caused that riot. We would be kicking off. He'd be out of the club by now.
He'd have to resign. You'd have fans be like, "Stay strong, players. Don't play for him."
You imagine the banners outside the training ground and the fans they'd be saying forget COVID, they'd be out there protesting.
Don't wear masks.
Yeah, Sky Sports News, everyone would be out there. He'd have been out of a job by now if it came.
Yeah, he'd be out of a job by now, boy. They had to keep that quiet. They went NDA on them and them boys. They look signed here.
Hey guys, how we going forward from here? Because we've got flipping a run of games that I'm pretty much scared of, man. Like we've got Arsenal, we've got Sheffield United is a big 6 point down. We've got who else we got?
Arsenal again.
Arsenal again.
Yeah. The lead.
It's funny because 3 weeks ago I was praying that Arsenal won't find their voice because we were coming around the corner. I was just praying they won't find their voice, but they found their voice. Here's the thing. We play them on Saturday. There's 2 things here. We play them on Saturday in the FA Cup. We get a feel of how they play. We get a feel of what they're going to do. I think we're going to lose, not because they're better than us, but because we're shit. So I think we're going to lose. However, the league game that we have against them, I think we will draw because we will feel them on Saturday. But those 2 games I don't care about, okay? Here's my word to you, man, right here, right now. This is going live, yeah? I swear down. If we lose to Sheffield, if we don't beat Sheffield United, I don't care about a draw. I don't care about it. If we don't beat that team, I am going to not talk. I'm not talking for a week about football or Newcastle. I'm blocking Newcastle on everything. If we lose Sheffield United, their first W, I'm done with the season. I'm done. I don't care where we finish. I don't care if we get relegated. I don't care who we sign. You threw away the season. That's my point. That's it.
If we lose to Sheffield United, Bruce needs to be sacked that night.
Yes.
And this is no disrespect to Sheffield United. I've got friends.
It is. It's all the disrespect. It's all the disrespect.
It is.
Okay, maybe a little bit, but I've got friends that support the club.
They've got 2 points all season. How can it not be disrespect? It is disrespect.
It's not about the disrespect for the club. What it is, it's about the fact that they have got 2 points, and it's about the fact that they haven't won a game all season, and we would be the one to give them that first win. For me, for that and that alone should be Steve Bruce getting sacked that night.
How will we live that down, Pete? How will we live that down? If we lose to shit, we're going to be the jokers of the world.
I don't think we understand how important that game is. We have to win that game. If we lose that game, I honestly think it won't be long before we get dragged into that bottom 3. And I actually think we'll get dragged into it, because I think losing that game will completely drain all of our squad players of any confidence. Our confidence in the manager's already gone. Our confidence in Steve Bruce
and the
already
fans
gone.
won't play. We won't play. We lose that game. I'm cussing everybody that started. Even Atsu. I don't care on the bench. I'm cussing everyone.
And all those guys, all those pundits that keep backing and supporting Bruce, right? They've got no leg to stand on. They had no leg to stand on after the Brentford game. They've got no leg to stand on if we don't win that game. Even if we draw, a point is not good enough, right? We need to be winning that game, right? For Bruce's sake, just as much as the rest of the squad and our league position, right? We need to win that game. Right? You're right. The FA Cup doesn't matter for me. The FA Cup doesn't matter. He'll rest players. He'll put players out. Wilson won't play. He'll rest players all for that Sheffield United game.
Okay,
right? So I don't care about that.
What's this? Well, hold on. James said this. James Fretwell said Bruce is even making Pardew look half decent. That's how poor he is. Hold on. Pete's got a good question. Peter Merrifield, shout out to you. Would you take another round in the FA Cup against Arsenal, or 3 points in the Premier League against Arsenal?
3 points all day
man.
long.
Yeah. Fuck the FA Cup.
3 points.
FA Cup. We're not worthy. We're not worthy of a cup round. We proved that against Brentford. Do you know what I mean? So
normally, like, look, we as his fans, we ain't won a trophy for God knows how long. We'd be saying, look, we want a cup run. We've been on a Bruce Cup run, and look where it took us to the quarterfinals against Man City, where we didn't even come out of our own half and got absolutely licked up. Right? I don't want that Bruce Cup run again. The Bruce Cup run this season took us to the quarterfinals, and we lost to a Championship club, and we had one shot on target the whole game. Right? That Bruce Cup run, I'm not interested in. The reason why it's so important, Premier League points, right? And, you know, we're in a position now where we're on a balancing act. We've got this arbitration and all that business going on, right? And look, it could come to nothing. It could come to something. I'm not willing to take that risk. We need to stay in the Premier League to see this arbitration, and whatever comes out of that, to see that through. However it goes, whether it goes through, whether it doesn't. Because I tell you what, I'm willing to take the risk in terms of staying in the Premier League rather than the cup run. Because if it does come through, we're going to have many a cup runs. Okay? You know what I mean? In the years to come, if it does come through, we'll have many a cup runs. And how we're feeling right now will be a distant memory. So that's why I'm willing this year to not really focus too much on the cups. Get the points that we need to stay in the league, to take the pressure off, and let them do their thing in the courts and get their about their business. I don't want to know about it until it's done. Let them get on with it, right? But at the moment, we just need to get as many points as possible.
Plus, I don't want to embarrass the FA Cup anymore than we did the last tournament. I don't want to do that to the FA Cup. It's already lost all its source. We're just gonna go and beat Arsenal, then lose to Colchester at home.
Honestly, if we won the FA Cup under Bruce this season, I don't think there'd be an FA Cup again after that. I don't think the FA Cup would ever want to put themselves in that position ever again. Having a Bruce Ball FA Cup winners. I don't think they want to see that.
Nah, fam.
Listen, the FA Cup deserves better, man. It deserves better. Trust me. If it has Steve Bruce, manager of Newcastle United, on there, then again the whole thing is just a write-off, man. Forget about it. The Charity Shield then becomes the FA Cup. That's how bad it is. You know what I'm saying? I would look forward to winning the Charity Shield over the FA Cup if that ever happens. So yeah, that's not happening anytime soon. Just to wrap things up, where I don't even know. We talked about transfers. We're not talking about no takeovers because that ain't happening. I see you, Lee, in the comment section, so don't even try it, bro. And I'm not getting Pete on one because it's not happening. It's not happening. We're not signing no Kai Havertz.
Put the comments out, man. I can't see them.
Nah, man.
What's Lee saying?
Lee's chatting rubbish, innit? He's saying, don't talk to 40 about takeovers. No such thing. You know about him. Stop winding him up, Pete. So that's it. Ting a washed. The ting not happened. So yeah, forget that.
The only takeover that I know of is the one where Jay's dissing Nas. That's it. Takeover. See,
that is it. That's the only takeover we acknowledge.
That's the only takeover we acknowledge.
That is it.
Year, hey, remember last year? It was the lockdown, and they were saying that's how we all met. That's how we all came together. I ain't playing that game this year.
No, you lesson in it. All that Havertz talk. And who did he end up with? Jeff Hendrick. Yeah. Jeff.
Huh?
No, exactly. Look, that's what we need to end on. Where are we going to get rid of these has-beens? Where are we going to get rid of these has-beens?
Jeff's got his woolly jumper on the bench, mate. He's sitting on plastic. He's got his woolly jumper on. He ain't going anywhere.
He's good.
He's going to the manager's office like, listen, man, I need some more game time, man. What's going on?
He ain't going to no office because he's just doubled his wages from Burnley, right? He's got a nice big house. He's sitting pretty right now at 28, 29 years old. He's thinking, I'm quite comfortable right here.
He's sitting there thinking, yo, coach, you need me to do this? Nah, cool. Big on Sean. I'm good.
Disgusting.
Second top goal scorer, by the way. Second top goal scorer, by the way. Don't forget, with 2 goals.
How
we're flipping resurrecting careers like this?
Before we go, I got to address Joe Linton. Hey, Joe Linton plays like he thinks he's Brazilian, you know.
He thinks he's Brazilian, but he's not. No, let's end on a good note, man. Let's end on a good note.
No, you know what it is?
I'm tired of talking about it.
No, it's actually positive. You know what it is? The guy's got bullied. Like, a couple of times, he'll hold up the ball, he'll got the ball, but then when he lays off the pass, you're like, bro, stop trying to look cute, just give it.
Fumby, man, you're chatting waffle, bro. Come on, man.
Okay.
Papi Cissé's got a better touch than Joe Linton. That just says it all.
His first touch yesterday
was disgusting. Joe Linton's got an awful touch. Look, what I will say about Joe Linton, in all honesty, the guy recently is working his socks off. Right, against Liverpool, he worked his socks off. He took the hit for the team. He wasn't really getting into attacking areas, but he was supporting the left-hand side. He will work his socks off. The issue with Joe Linton is that the fans' expectations of a £40 million signing, signed as a striker, given the number 9, he is just not going to live up to that expectation. He has not got the quality to play at that level. He's not a Premier League player, not a top-level Premier League player. The problem is we've got him on a 6-year deal. He's still got another 5 years to see out of that. We're just not going to see what we want to see from him. Like, we get little nuggets where he did okay against Crystal Palace and we think, oh, here it is. Here's the Joe Linton that we thought we were going to see. We're not going to see it. The next game, he was absolute doggers. You know, we're just not going to see it, unfortunately. And you know what? It's not his fault. He's just not good enough, and it's not his fault. it's the fault of the recruitment team. It's the fault of the owner for signing someone for so much money that had so little sort of promise coming into the side.
You know what this is? This is a 2020 Ali Dia situation. Do you remember him? The guy that's out for Southampton who pretended to be George Weah's cousin, yeah. When Graham Souness got stumped, and he never brings it up because I know you'll get pissed, he got stumped by saying, basically convinced that it was George Weah's cousin. He didn't have a first touch. We must have left it in Senegal. So that's what was happened to us. Ali Dia is our Joe Linton, or Joe Linton is our Ali Dia. That's it. That's the situation. And again...
But you're done with Joe?
Huh?
You're done with Joe?
Done with Joe, bro! Get out of here, man! Please, look. Okay, let me ask this. Let me ask this. If Steve Bruce had a backpack or suitcase and he's off on holiday and he could take 5 people to go with him, who would you take? Who would
take that backroom staff with you? You know how many man when the new coach comes in, the backroom staff is even the backroom staff is a joke.
No, look, you can't fit that many in. Only 5. Let me tell you mine.
Wrong stuff.
Yeah, I know that'll be sure.
Joe Linton.
Yeah.
John Joe Shelvey. Take that motherfucker with you. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Who else? Who else is pissing me off at the moment?
Your boy.
Atsu.
No, you know what? Atsu will play to piss me off, man. He will play to piss me off. You know what? Take Carroll with you. Take Carroll with you. Take him. Hey, I got the last person. Take that Murphy motherfucker and put him in another world. I'm tired of that guy. I'm fed up with him.
Murphy? Nah.
You're doing all right.
Exactly. Pete, who's your guy?
He lost the ball and almost cost us another goal for no reason.
Pete, who's your 5, bro?
Okay. First and foremost, is it players? Yeah.
Yeah. Look, we could all say Mike Ashley, Lee Charnley, but
yeah, I was gonna say I think it's Steve Nicholson. Steve Nichols, the recruitment guy.
Yeah,
he should be one out the door.
Let's do players.
Joe Linton, and you can take Joe Linton with him.
Yeah.
John Joe Shelvey, he needs to get the hell out of this club. I'm done. Look, Fordy, you said you're done with Joe Linton. I'm done with John Joe Shelvey.
I'm done too, Pete.
I'm behind you on that one. Don't worry.
I'm done.
And in fact, Lee, I know you're still listening as well. Where's that John Joe Shelvey chat now? Because when he scored 5 quick goals, John Joe Shelvey! Okay, when was that? Get out.
Carry on, yeah. But you know, my man doesn't run. Like how?
Yeah.
He hasn't run since he's 14. He's not run since he's 14. He can't run.
Did you see him for that second goal? The way he got done by Tillemans.
Oh my God!
Tillemans megged him, right? Played a little 1-2, smashed it in the corner. Right? Honestly, it was embarrassing. The guy'd been on the pitch 2 minutes, and he got done. He got done like that. It was so embarrassing. Honestly.
Hey, man, picked him up from the free throw line. You know the throwing line. Man had the opportunity to look up and see who's in our box, and still pick him out, and no one made a tackle.
How are you central midfielders that don't run? That's like the first thing that you need to do as a central midfielder. Run. One way or the other. You're either going back to goal or forward to goal. You got to run.
And that doesn't run.
Right. I've got right. So Joe Linton, John Joe Shelvey.
Yeah.
Who was it? Emil Kraft. Emil Kraft needs to get the hell out of this club, man.
Done out here.
Absolutely nothing.
Done.
Honestly, who else is there? Another one, Ashraf Lazar. Honestly,
another one. I thought he was done. I thought he was gone.
We are in the summer. We are paying him. We are literally feeding his Instagram. Right, so we are literally paying him. We signed
the influencer, Pete. We signed the influencer.
We are literally funding him to be an influencer. It is an absolute joke. The guy can't even get a loan deal in Serie B.
Can't even get to Morocco.
He can't even get in the Italian Division 2. That's 4. And then 5. I would say Andy Carroll. Yeah, Andy Carroll.
You gonna leave Sean Longstaff?
No. There are 5 more for me. That are, look. For me, with Sean Longstaff, right? I don't get to like. He's been frustrating at the moment. He's giving the ball away. He's just been awful. The thing that I have in the back of my mind about Sean Longstaff is he needs coaching.
Yeah,
he needs coaching. With coaching, he will perform better. Under Benitez, he would have been performing at a higher level. Right? He needs coaching. That's the reason why I don't have him in that list. That's the reason why I don't get too down on him, because a lot of it is down to the management and coaching around him.
I agree, man. I agree.
Bro, that's it. We've ranted enough. I feel like we've got out our frustrations over these last 3 games. We didn't even really need to get into them because it was all poor. We've got more upcoming poor games, so we've got more time to talk about that. But the fact that we got to talk trash about our players makes me feel better. So thank you guys.
I'm worried about what they're going to do Tuesday night. Tuesday night, I think, is when we play Sheffield United next week. I worry about our reaction stream and how we're going to be feeling after that game, because I don't know how that's going to go.
Let me say something here. Listen, we only stream if we lose. If we win, we can sleep well. If we lose, I need a microphone and a camera because it's going to be on.
If we lose, I think Kumbi will be pulling his plats out and I might be pulling my throw out as well. So, yeah.
No, listen, I'm not talking about winning, I don't want us to win the game. I want them to say we look like Barcelona. That's all I want to hear. I want us to back them up, give them no hope. Let them know you are going down this season and they're going to get points on our watch. That's what I want to see.
You want destruction. That's what you want.
No Bournemouth for going down last season, and we helped them to it.
Yeah.
That's how we got to treat South.
That's what you want to. That's all we want to see. Yeah.
That's all I want, and it's not hard to do. We've seen.
All right. Thank you guys for watching, listening as always, man. Cheers, guys, for jumping on as well, and we'll see you on. Take care.
Take care, guys.
Take care.